before there was an empire called Persia, before kings ruled from the Mediterranean to the Indus. There were only scattered tribes on a high, windswept plateau. Here, among mountains and dry plains, herders followed their animals. Farmers tended small fields, and stories about gods and heroes passed from one generation to the next. From these peoples would emerge a new language, a new faith, and one day a new kind of empire. The Iranian plateau sits between great worlds, Mesopotamia to the west, Central Asia to the north, the routes toward India to the east. For millennia, this was not one united kingdom, but a patchwork of villages, camps, and hilltop strongholds. Among the peoples who settled here were early Iranian-speaking groups, part of a wider Indo-Iranian family. They brought new dialects, new rituals, and a shared way of seeing the world. Life was hard. Communities depended on their herds, on small harvests, and on the loyalty that bound clans together. Their rituals honored powerful beings linked to the sky, the sun, and fire. Priests recited sacred verses from memory. Warriors swore oaths to chieftains who promised protection and rewards. Religion, politics, and daily survival were not separate spheres. To keep cattle safe and fields fertile, you needed both strong arms and the favor of unseen powers. In this world of open skies and fragile livelihoods, questions about order and chaos, truth and deceit were never far from the surface, even if they were not yet written down. At some point, perhaps many centuries before our written sources, tradition remembers a religious reformer among these Iranian peoples. His name, Zarathustra, or Zoroaster. We do not know his exact dates or the precise village where he lived, but the teachings associated with his name would reshape Iranian religion. Zarathustra did not simply add one more god to an existing pantheon. He placed a single supreme wise lord at the center of his message, Ahura Mazda. In this vision, Ahura Mazda embodies wisdom, truth, and right order. Opposed to him are the forces of deceit, violence, and corruption. Zarathustra's teaching describes the universe as a struggle between two paths. One is Asha, the way of truth, justice, and proper order. The other is Druj, the way of the lie, of disorder and injustice. Ahura Mazda and beneficent spirits support Asha. Destructive, deceitful forces pull toward Druj. In this struggle, humans are not spectators. Every thought, every word, every act has weight. To tell the truth, to keep an oath, to act fairly, these become sacred duties. Small daily choices are understood as contributions to the victory of good over evil. Fire in this context is more than warmth or light. It is a visible sign of clarity and purity, a reminder of the presence of truth. Communities inspired by Zarathustra gathered around carefully tended flames, turning toward the light as they pledged themselves to right thinking, right speaking, and right doing. The natural world also mattered. To pollute a river, to abuse animals, to damage the land. These were seen as offenses against the order Ahura Mazda intended. At first, this message was not the official creed of any empire. It spread among families, clans, and local rulers who found in it a powerful way to talk about justice and duty. Some leaders resisted the changes it implied. Others embraced the idea that true authority meant siding openly with truth and order. Over time, these ideas sank into the political culture of Iranian elites. An ideal ruler was expected to defend Asha, to uphold honesty in speech, fairness in judgment, and care for the vulnerable. Good kingship became more than military success. It became a moral responsibility measured against a higher, unseen standard. Among the many Iranian-speaking groups on the plateau, one would soon give its name to a future empire, the Persians. They settled in the southwestern region later known as Fars, or Persis, building their own small kingdom among hills and valleys. Later tradition remembers their ruling family as the House of Achaemenes, the ancestors of a dynasty we now call the Achaemenids. For a time, the Persians stood in the shadow of more powerful neighbors and paid tribute to them. Yet within their own lands, a distinctive identity was forming, rooted in Iranian customs and shaped by devotion to Ahura Mazda and the values of truth and right order. By the mid-6th century before our era, the pieces were in place. A people with a strong sense of who they were, a warrior aristocracy with rising ambition, and a moral vision in which just rule meant defending truth against the lie. From the house of these early Persian kings, one leader would soon emerge, a man who would turn local power into a vast empire. He would claim the favor of Ahura Mazda, promise justice to friends and subjects, and knit together many nations under one crown. His name was Cyrus. In the next chapter, we follow Cyrus from the hills of Persia to the great cities of his neighbors, and watch how the ideas born here about truth, kingship, and the wise Lord begin to reshape the ancient world.
Like and subscribe to uncover the next chapter of history with us.